Hey, and we're here with Alicia Mignano running for school board. Welcome, Alicia. Good to see you again. And do you want to just sort of start off by telling us about your campaign and why you're running for the school board?
Yes, thank you. I'm Alicia Mignano, and I'm running for the school board to offer a fresh perspective. I'm a parent of a second grader at Edison, and I was an at-risk and English language learner in public schools, including schools in South Central LA. I am I am proud to be part of the SMMUSD community and dedicate my time to ensure that all students receive an excellent public education, especially our most vulnerable students. I am a committed parent volunteer, and yes, this is why I'm running for school board.
Cool. So we'll go around and ask each of us will ask a couple of questions to you. So I wanted to start with regard to Malibu unification of the district. Do you think it's possible to have an equitable outcome for that, such that both districts do have the financial means necessary to have equitable districts?
I think it is possible. I think it is required. I believe that there are 9 criteria, and it is required by California state law. And any reorganization of 2 districts must ensure that our vulnerable students receive the programming and the supports that they need to do well in school.
Great. So you think that I mean, I guess what I really mean is that although it's required for it to go through, that you think it's possible given the different, makeup of the 2 districts that we would be able to come to some kind of conclusion. I mean, you'd be tasked, I guess, with, trying to seek that resolution on the board, right?
Yes, I would be tasked with doing that on the board. I think that I would have to look at the plans. But like I said, for me, it's very important that our most vulnerable students have the supports and programming. So any reorganization plan must ensure that our students have access to those things. Um, yes.
Great. Okay, cool. Who's next? Janine.
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see
And
you.
okay, so I also had 2 students in the Santa Monica Malibu school system, and I know many years ago we were talking about the achievement gap and had all these plans and different superintendents, and it just seems to be a continuing challenge. And I'd like to hear your perspective, maybe as a parent and a potential school board member, on what needs to be done and how you can contribute to that, to closing that achievement gap.
Yes, thank you for that question, Janine. Yes, the achievement gap. I believe that there are factors that are in-school factors and out-of-school factors. And in order for us to really make progress closing the achievement gap, we must use a multi-prong approach. And look at those factors. For example, early childhood education. Our students get to like TK and kindergarten and already have gaps in reading skills, in math skills, in behavior and attention. So I think we must start early. And I think that we need to have different programs and supports depending on where our students uh, are in the educational system. An elementary student needs different supports than a middle school student, than a high school student. And we must meet our students where they are and give them the supports that they need. Um, I think that our district has developed wonderful plans. I'm familiar with the Excellence Through Equity plan, which basically says we all start with we're all born and have the potential to be our to reach our dreams and goals, and our life experiences kind of pull us apart. So if you think of like bell graphs, we have students that do really well on one side and we have students who don't do as well, and there's that gap in between. So how the district is trying to do is like we want to push all of our students to receive an excellent public education and to excel. And so how do we do that? How do we do that for both groups while breaching the gap? And I think that the instruction, if we get really good at doing what we do, we have amazing teachers. We can, and then we have the supports and programs to address the in-school and out-of-school factors. We can move that forward. So implementation. I think our district has a great plan, but we must implement our plan. And I believe that I have the energy to push us to implement our plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Dan.
Thanks, John. Hey, Alicia, how are you? Good to see
Hey,
you.
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. So, I'm a veteran, as you know, and sometimes I think I might look at the world in through slightly different lenses. And one of the things I always notice when I walk past Franklin Elementary is how exposed the school is to the street and the kind of public safety threat that can be, particularly in this world where school shootings are happening almost daily. I'm curious as to what your plans would be on the school board to promote like hardened school buildings in a way that's also like educational friendly.
Yes, I mean, that is something that is very important to me. I think the safety of our students and our staff is a priority, especially with our history here in Santa Monica. I think that first we have to look at the parameters around our schools, and we have to secure our entry points and our exit points. I know that the district has added cameras to our campuses. I also, at the high school level, I also believe that that we must encourage our students to have strong relationships with our staff and teachers, because I believe that that creates a strong reporting culture. Like if somebody sees something that is a threat, I think that we want to encourage everyone on our campuses to say, hey, this is what I saw. So for me, it's about, securing our parameters and making sure that that we have a strong reporting culture. And we must, every year we have meetings, we have our safety plan meetings, and I invite more people in our and more parents and more people in our schools to go to these meetings. We look at that safety plan, and so it's a really good place to make the recommendations to our site staff on how to improve safety. So if you have any ideas, I recommend that people attend those meetings. We also must look at our protocols on a yearly basis. So that's where I would start.
Cool. Thank you. So
Thanks.
who's next? Raina.
Hi, Raina. Oh, I can't hear you.
There we go. So we may be faced with a situation where we don't have a African-American leadership on our school board.
Yes.
And I'm wondering what your intentions, goals, plans are on behalf of African-American students. Not that a person has to be Black in order to have those intentions, but it does afford a representation in the leadership, which is very critical on behalf of African-American students. And without that, that's an issue. And I'm wondering if you think that's an issue, and I'm wondering how you plan to deal with that issue.
Yes, I was really sad to see that Keith decided to withdraw from the race. I think one of my early board meeting experiences is seeing our BAPAC, our Black African American Parent Council. And what I would do as a school board member is lean on our parents. There is a wealth of their knowledge and experience and drive to do what is best for our students. So that is one group that I would really love to listen. I know that they've recommended things like more parent engagement. For me, that's also like at all levels, we should be encouraging more parent engagement, because I think that when families have the resources to advocate for their students and know the system and have the skills, I think that makes a great impact. I know some of the other things that they have recommended have been strengthening the intervention, the 3-tier intervention system, looking at our grading policies. Because one of the things that from going to all these board meetings, it's like, why do our Latinx students and Black students always, why are we getting so many D's and F's? Well, let's look at our grading policies and let's make changes. So for me, I prioritize listening to our BAPAC, our Black African American parents, and really giving them the voice to lead and participate. And yes, that's what I would do.
Great, thank you. Who's next?
I'll go.
Hi, Isabel.
Hi. So the schools really faced a challenge with the last few years with the pandemic, and all the students, I think, fell behind to some degree, but that may have impacted minority students even more. What are your thoughts about, do you have thoughts on making up that lost ground? And especially, do you think minority students were more affected by that, and how can we help them catch up?
Yes, I think that minority students and I think socioeconomically disadvantaged students were hit the hardest. I've gone to board meetings and spoken. Like, one of the things that I'm very proud that I spoke up on was Chromebooks, access to Chromebooks and access to hotspots. During our summer break, our libraries, like that second year, we weren't going to have any summer school programming. We'd been a group of parents, we'd been advocating for more summer school support. We weren't going to have summers. We didn't have the staff. We didn't have the capacity to do summer school programming. Our libraries were still closed. And so we got notices that our students had to turn in their Chromebooks and their hotspots. And I and a group of parents showed up and said, no, we need our students to have our Chromebooks. We need them to have access to Wi-Fi so that we can, use we have so many educational apps through the Clever student accounts and access to books. And so that was something that I spoke about. Moving forward, I think that we really need to, but I think in the pandemic, we're still dealing with a little behind, but we've offered summer school. We're doing, the district's also offering tutoring programs. There's also an online tutoring program, an in-person tutoring program. But I like ideas like students. I really like the ideas of students helping other students, like peer tutoring at the high school level. I also think that what other types of programs? Yeah, I am a big fan of peer-to-peer, because for high school students, we only have the paper, the online tutoring program. But I think it goes back to, we have to implement our plans, our Excellent Through Equity plan. COVID, all professional development was paused for 2.5 years, and we're just starting to pick that up. So we're just going back and doing the work it takes to implement our plans. Yes,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Patricia.
So have you thought much about the impediments to hiring and retaining teachers, and what have you looked at, or what have you heard about as good way? Well, first of all, teacher evaluation. Is there still a good process for teacher evaluation? And then what do you do about teacher retention when teachers can't afford to live here?
Yes, have thought about this, and I think, first of all, I want to say that our teachers have gone above and beyond during the pandemic. Not only were they teaching, they were also, I feel like I got to learn from my son's teachers. So I think they've gone above and beyond, and one of the things that I think, affordability of housing here in Santa Monica. It's really expensive for our teachers and our staff to live here. And I think that if we had workforce housing, it would be a tool that we could use to attract and diversify our teachers and our staff, and just provide that better, just keep them here and not have, I know teachers that have to drive back and forth, and it's a long commute, and then they have to, I just think workforce housing for me would be a really good, something that I want to work with, yes, in the future.
Anyone else? Want to go for a second one?
Alicia, your questionnaire is very thorough and touches on most of the really, if not all of the really important things that are facing the school district. And so the absence of question isn't out of disregard, it's out of respect for what you've written. So
oh, thank you. Yes, Raina.
Sure. I think it's important for all of us as human beings, as well as leaders, to look at our strengths and our weaknesses. What would you say is a weakness?
For me, a weakness, doubting myself is a big weakness. And I feel like that is somehow rooted in my educational path. Sometimes being an immigrant and a Latina, it's like, I'm not even contemplating running for school board. It's like, am I good enough? And it's something that I feel started in school. And it's something that if I get to change that for our students, and if they get to feel like they're accepted and that they have value to add to our world, that to me is everything. And so for me, my weakness is really doubting myself. Sometimes it takes me, sometimes it's harder for me to get to the point of being like, you know what, I am capable, I am strong, I can do these things. So I think that is my greatest weakness.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Great to see you, Alicia, and we appreciate it, you coming by, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a good night.
thank you.
See you.